Now let's turn it over to our audience and take a round of questions from the floor. We've got two roving mics. Amanda and Jordan, you've got a mic? No. There's two roving mics. Can you keep your interventions short and to the point? And when I come back to you, panelists, keep your responses short and to the point. Over to you. There's a cluster over here. Let's start over here. Who's got the mic? Amanda, do you have a mic? Should we take these three folks down here at the front row?
My name is Modu Naki, and I'm a Leland International Hunger Fellow. During the presentations, I heard a lot about policies. But as we know, in Asia and in Africa, we're not the greatest in following our rules, regulations, and policies. Not to say that Europe and the Americas are perfect, but so I was wondering how to deal with this, since we know policies are very, very important concerning this issue that we're talking about, resilience. In order to build resilience, you need the right policies. But since the policies are not there and the people are not willing to respect them, and we talk about creating more policies, I was wondering how you guys are dealing with this, especially Jacqueline, for example. In your country, how do you navigate these issues? And not to forget the corruption also.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nuguseta Farra from European Commission Joint Research Center. Mine is a kind of comment as well as question. Let me begin with what Amadou told us.
Could you speak up?
Let me. It's okay. Okay. Let me begin with what Amadou told us. He started by saying that is resilience really a very complex issue? My view is both yes and no. Yes, because yesterday in the panel discussion, we heard that resilience is not a substitute for poverty alleviation strategy, and also it is not similar to that of sustainable development. So what it is, what both of them are missing, and what really resilience is adding in our existing knowledge. Yes, it is a new issue because it provides us a concept of integrating humanitarian with that of the development actors. Theoretically, it will be very simple, but practically it will be challenging. Let me bring a very simple issue.
You need to be brief. Huh?
Okay, pardon?
You need to be brief.
Okay. Let me bring it very simple. Suppose the government said that I need to subsidize fertilizer in order to address the food and nutrition security. Are all the actors really coming together to provide subsidy in such a way that they can provide, supporting a given party? What is your experience in terms of that? The other issue that really I want to hear from this one, resilience has three components: adaptive, observative capacity, and transformative capacity. I want to look at the third one, which we need to address from this governance issue. Transforming capacity, that tells us completely transfer of livelihood. What if less accountable governors pick a single resilience indicator, let me say that lack of access to health, and use that one to remove the community from that localities and do their own land for land grabbing, which is a common serious issue in most of African countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Challenging questions.
So I've got to thank my colleague for asking the question about corruption. You give me the option of a second question. Thank you. My question is to all the panel. We've observed in the past years that the space for civil society organizations to actually interact with governments and international organizations is closing down. And you've all said that civil society organizations, whether they be NGOs or associations, whatever their form is very important in designing those plans at the national level to increase the resilience and to prevent disasters. What are you doing to increase the space for civil society organizations? Thank you.
you can answer that question without agreeing with the first premise, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My name is William Quit from Ghana. I'm from the Parliament of Ghana. Reading the topic this morning, I decided to be in this forum because I heard the word accountability. And I think that means to me responsibilities and actually how to account for resources given to anybody to do some particular work. I started life as a development worker. We see challenges, we report to the government, and we expect that the government also, of course, bring in the resources to help us more or less cure the challenges at the local level. But most often in Africa, and for that matter, Ghana, in my country, for instance, government, you see in budgets, this amount of money released. It is supposed to be down there for the use by the local people. And yet, at the end of the year, it will be accounted for that it has been used, but I don't see the impact. In simple terms, great corruption. So hearing this word accountability, I thought that we were going to listen to something about corruption and how these workers here have been able to mitigate that. I didn't hear anything about it. Corruption, very, very rife in Africa. Monies, government monies are given out, but the impact of that money is not felt.
I mean, we've got a bit of microphone capture going on down here, so I'm going to move it to the back, or to the middle a bit. Sorry guys at the front. But your question, I could boil your question down into, does the adoption of a resilience paradigm or lens, does that open up even greater opportunities for corruption, or not? And when, and where? I think that's a really good question. Let's take a couple more and then we'll come back to the panel. A couple more in the middle, please. This gentleman, I think, yes, Rosaline, and then the gentleman next to you. Rosaline, okay.
Thank you. My name is Leonidas from Burundi, the Anglican Church. I want to make a comment on the topic.
Brief, please.
Yes. I would like to suggest the topic, if we can make this, building resilience by strengthening governance, accountability, and the partnership. And I have a small question to our sister Jacqueline from Tanzania. My question is, how are you making accountability or governance in finance with farmers and the government? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rosaline.
Thank you. Rosalind Riemans from Columbia University. I have two questions. One is the examples show very clearly that institutional learning is very important. How can we build the institutional memory better into governance where there's a very high turnover of human capacity? And the second question is about social trust. It builds upon the question about corruption, but it's a bit broader, like what is the role in government about building social trust between different groups and between the government and these different groups? Thank you.